I quit my 6-figure job to heal, to create, and to most of all experiment and find myself. But what I've noticed over the past few weeks, especially on my sabbatical, is that just because I have a lot more time doesn't mean I'm living life differently. And I'll explain in a minute. So I'm starting to experiment. And one of these experimentations might actually lead me to a Spanish speaking country. So let's dial it back. It all started with my fear jar. And this was a mason jar that I had in my room that had all the things that I was afraid to do. And I just put it in sticky notes inside the jar. And funny enough, YouTube was in this jar, but also were many more things that I felt very afraid of doing or starting, especially when I was still in corporate. And one of them was or is living in a Spanish speaking country. As far as I can remember, I've always loved the language Spanish and also loved Spanish culture. And growing up, I watched telenovelas. So moving here to the US, I was like, hey, I love to be able to get closer to the culture. I want to be able to travel and practice. And I actually might be doing this, which is scary, but when else am I going to have this time? And I know I want to be able to stretch out my savings. And if you haven't already, I have a video, I'll put it somewhere here, that talks about how I saved and how much money I saved to be able to afford the sabbatical. But I want to stretch that out as long as possible because I don't want to go to corporate, not quite yet. So my burn rate, one, I want to reduce that and then go somewhere else that I can stretch it for a longer time. Over the last week has been a lot of unlearning and a lot of like reflection about what does this mean, especially with having my things here, packing, moving, how does that work? But I will have more details once it's close to the time. But that is one of my experiments that I'm going to do, especially in the next few months. So one thing I've also learned and one thing that I'm doing more of is, at least now that I know that I'm moving, semi-moving, I'm trying to do as much as possible controlled. I don't want to over exacerbate myself, but go on more adventures in my city, go to more events and meet people. And one of these really cool events was something that I attended called, I think it was like Thought Experiments, pun intended. But it was a really cool venue where you got to meet a bunch of different people. They asked you, or you would sit in a table, and how it worked was like you sit in a table, you get a question, a moral dilemma basically, and you all speak about what this means and how you would navigate through this. And I ended up meeting really, really cool people, and one couple in particular, I met them and we're just talking about all the things that were happening in the world, but also they were very curious about what I did. Right. And I was like, I'm a career break. And that actually inspired the guy in the relationship to take his own career break. So, hey, I'm an influencer, yay. But he is also planning to do or take a sabbatical, which I think is great. And he was just asking me a lot of questions of how I did it and what I was thinking of and what I plan to do. And it's fun because we might actually end up traveling or, seeing each other during the time. And I'm excited for that. So now I'd have like a travel friend. So don't let those fears scare you too much because you never know what's going to come out at the end of it. So we talked about what I'm going to do in this career break, but also what I've been up to lately. And this was also very cool to see how my curiosity has kind of like pushed me to different things and made me more bold even in a couple of weeks that I've been outside corporate. So number one, with healing, which was one of the key, I would say key things that I want to do during this time, is to heal myself, body, mind, and soul. So I'm back in the gym. Yay. Yay. I'm still sore because I didn't go for too long. I'm back in the gym. I'm also trying to cook more, also trying to get more water in my inside my body. That's just a reminder for me to take my water break. But I'm also looking to create more. So create not only, like food, content, but also create things with my hands. I finally signed up for a donut making class, which I will do in the next week. And I get to try, like it's a class, and then you get to try different types of donuts across the world and how people are using them. So I'm super excited to try that soon. But the last piece I would say is like not only, healing, creating, but these experiments are very exciting to me. I think it gives me a sense to just try and not put any type of metric or result ahead of things and be able to just enjoy and live in the moment. And one thing I'm realizing, right, is with freedom, especially for me, as I think about, hey, I want to be financially free. I want to have career freedom. I want to have emotional freedom, spiritual freedom. How do I actually make this happen in my life? And with this time, I do think we need to get more intentional about how we live our life, especially if, because I would say not everyone could, quit their job. Not everyone could be in a place where they could fund that for a while, because we're all different and we all have different circumstances. So I want to be mindful of that although, yes, I'm able to do this, you might not be able to, or maybe you're planning to. So I'm super excited for that journey as you build that up. But I want to make sure that even within the day to day, that you're also living your life the best that you can, but also live it differently, or model what you want that to be even within your 9 to 5. Because I've spent a lot of my time doing the responsible and sensible thing, which right now in my life, I don't even know who I'm becoming, but I'm loving her. Every day, and I'm learning to become more curious and lean into that as well. And what the fear jars or the fear list is teaching me too is that it didn't give me things that other people wanted me to do. These are things that I wrote with my hand that I wanted to do. So it's not anything being pressured, but it's just innately what I've always wanted to do, but maybe have neglected or been afraid of. And I think if I didn't start small, again, quitting your job is way ahead. If I didn't start small, then I wouldn't have built the muscle to be able to learn that. So I'm going to flip the script to you. What is one thing that you'd want to try, even if you were bad at it? And it doesn't have to have any reason per se, but what is one thing that you would love to try? Or even what is one thing that you've been afraid to do? And it doesn't have to be a really grandiose thing. I would say some things could be like, hey, going to, for a solo date by yourself. That might be a little bit terrifying. Or going to see a movie. I know going to see a movie may be a little bit bigger, but before you do those and then go on your first solo trip, like I've solo traveled across multiple different countries and it's been great, but I think even before I got there, I had to kind of get little things under my belt so I could feel very comfortable with it. And funny enough, I'm actually heading to, well, I'm not solo traveling this time because I'm visiting a friend, but I'm heading to my 30th country, which is great. It's awesome. I get to do that with a friend and enjoy her hometown, and she gets to show me around. So that's really, really fun. But think more about like that thing that you're afraid of. Try one thing, or maybe you go ahead and write your list of what would you do if you weren't afraid, and let your pen go. Let's just let your mind go, and it will surprise you. It really will surprise you what is in there. And if you want to get extra credit, you can say why. Why does it scare you, right? So even if I'm thinking about moving to a different country or staying there for a little while, the fear is just the uncertainty. I'm scared of the uncertainty. I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be accepted. I don't know if I'm going to be judged. If I think about it from, YouTube, I'm not, for years, which I didn't have a YouTube channel for, I was just scared of judgment and how people perceive me or how I would sound, because I was so cognizant of my accent and how I felt like I was code switching everywhere. But I'm learning to just love the duality and not two people, but the experience that I've had. I sound like the world that I've lived. And I probably, when I go to a Spanish speaking country, I may have a little Spanish twang on my videos later on, but I'm looking forward to that and just accepting the full me. So I'll wrap it up by saying this. I don't know where I'm headed. I don't know if I'm going to end up in Latin America. I don't know if I'm going to end up in Europe yet. I don't know what this sabbatical is going to turn into. I really am unsure. And the point is not for me to know every single thing. The point is for you is not to know every single thing, to know your purpose right now, to know your passion right now. I think we need to live life and it will reveal itself. I would have never thought in a matter of years, even last year, that I would be in this position to say, hey, I'm embracing that uncertainty. I'm learning to trust God more. I'm learning not to plan too much, even though I like to plan. I'm leaving that like serendipity. I'm leaving space for what could happen and what can surprise you. So if you're in the same season of figuring out, how do I make my life more meaningful? How do I build a life that I don't want to escape from? You don't have to wait till Fridays. You don't have to wait till your PTO. You don't have to wait till you have time with your family. Like, how can you incorporate little tiny experiments day to day and make sure that it could be more fulfilling at the end? Because it does compound. The good things you do to yourself do compound. So treat yourself sometimes, spend some time in quiet. Do those things that make you happy. And if you don't know them yet, just take notice of things. I'm giving myself permission to lean in and embrace that. And I want you to do that for your life. If you're interested in knowing that, follow me along the journey. And as always, like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.